Welcome to Season 2, Episode 14 of The Gray Zone. Excited to be here, excited to be alive. It's a beautiful fucking day in Vancouver. Sunny skies, blue skies. Honestly, I'm surprised I'm not climbing today, but I'll be going after work tomorrow and had a great session at the gym yesterday, so no complaints here. And you just gotta get stuff done sometimes around the house, which is also so lovely. So yeah, truly no complaints. Today's episode is about patience and rushing. Sort of the two sides of the same coin, perhaps. I've been training Bucky for a while now. I've had a dog for almost a year. First got him with my ex-girlfriend. 6 weeks later, we broke up. We got him on a whim, and I decided to keep him. We decided that I would keep him. And then shortly after, he started limping, and the next 7 months were quite stressful. Started a new job, had a puppy for the first time. Had been dating my ex for a couple of years. We were living together along with a couple other roommates. She moved out. All of a sudden, life looked very different and responsible for another creature, another living animal, for the first time in my life, which was, like I said, it was a wild time, a stressful time as well, especially because of the injury and just uncertainty around that, and trying to rehabilitate him, go to the vet, figure that stuff out. And anyways, we got there. It was a big period of change in my life, and I learned a lot. It was stressful. Here I am, feeling good. So where patience and rushing comes into this is in the training with Bucky. There's a type of training called shaping, which I've learned about since getting a dog, and I think it's a fascinating thing, which can be considered when you're being a leader or a manager perhaps as well, because there's such a direct relationship with a dog, this like leader sort of relationship. And I don't think necessarily that you want to take everything as is and start to apply this in the way that you lead people, but I do think that there's some interesting things to be considered and thought about in the way that shaping works with a dog. So shaping is a great way to teach an initial behavior. And what you do is essentially I would take Bucky into my backyard, and I would remove all distractions, and then he's also aware that I have food. And his food is fed to me, or to him. I'm not eating his food. His food is fed to him every day by me, by hand. So he's not getting a big bowl at the end of the day and just treats throughout the day. His food is worked for. And he was rewarded with good behavior by his food. So we'd go into the backyard. Let's say the behavior that I want to train is sit. I don't actually say the word. I don't give a command. I don't give him any indication. I essentially completely ignore him. And again, we're in an environment where there is no opportunity for real stimulus to come other than through me and the food. And so he's just looking at me, waiting to try and figure out what I want from him. And eventually he sits and I reward it and I say yes, or I click it. So there's an association that marks the behavior. So timing is a huge part of shaping. Shaping is essentially waiting for the animal to do the behavior that you're looking for, and then immediately upon execution of that behavior, you reward it with a food and a yes, for example, to mark the behavior. You're like, yeah, that's what I'm looking for, Bucky, good job. And then again, you don't give him any insight, any input, and you just wait for that behavior again, and you train it, and you train it. And what shaping does, it's very different from like me pulling out a treat and holding it and saying sit and making noises until he does sit. Because when that's the case, he's trying to do it to get something from me, and I'm goading him into it. So he's getting to make the choice between either paying attention to me and getting the food or ignoring me. And in the case of shaping, I'm not asking him anything of him. So he's making the choice of his own accord to try and figure out what I want and make the behavior happen, and then gets rewarded for it. And this builds an excitement for him around the behavior, because he starts to get excited. He's like, oh, I figured out what Christian wants. He wants me to sit. So he sits again, and I give it to him again. And then I walk away 10 feet, and he comes up to me, and he sits. And I feed him again, and I feed him again. So this builds this excitement, this behavior, without you necessarily having to punish or correct, and without having to goad or lure into something. So it's a great way, again, to build the start of a behavior, because there's excitement. So now whenever I say sit in the future, so what you do is you don't say anything, you let the behavior build, then eventually you start saying sit with the behavior right as he's about to execute it anyways and is feeling excited to do it. So now every time he hears the word sit, he associates it to the emotions that he's felt when he learned the word, which was excitement and wanting to do the thing anyways. Versus, again, me teaching him over time, like, sit. And I'm like, he's got a ball that he wants to chase, but I'm like holding the treat in my hand, and I'm like, come on, Bucky, sit. And now he's getting to always make the choice, versus him, like, the intuitive choice for him to always be to sit when I say it, because of the associations he's made throughout it. And again, it feels like it's his choice to him. And so that's worked great. It's actually, I'd say, it trained him to, like, according to other people in my life, like, and everyone that I see pretty much actually is like, he's an incredibly trained dog, and he is. But he's at the like 85 or 90 percentile, and bringing him to the final sort of like 100% of just like being on top of it every time I say anything is sort of where I'm at, because I think that really allows a lot more freedom for Bucky and for myself to be less worried, because I can really leave him off leash in almost any environment because I know that he'll listen to me, right? And so that's what we're working towards. And at the same time, obviously, I've got life going on. I've got work. I got a job. I work from home, which is lovely. It makes it a lot easier to take care of the dog. And so I'm dealing with this balance of trying to train and raise a dog while also having a busy life and doing it alone. Although less so now. I've got a new girlfriend, which is lovely, and she's awesome. Ava's great. And she actually has a background in dog training. And so, and her career is in the world of dogs. And so it's really helpful, actually. It's a lot less stressful, and I'm learning a lot from her. But regardless, most of the time I live like at house with roommates. Most of the time I'm taking care of the dog every single day. And at lunch, I'm taking him out for a walk. Before I start my day for work, I'm taking him out for a walk. After work, I'm taking him out for a walk. And each of these times is an opportunity for training and for play. And it's so easy for me to rush through these moments. And so, for example, eye contact is a big thing. I will, while walking, wait for him to look at me in the eyes. Then I say yes, and I give him a treat, and I reward him. Now, when I'm feeling impatient, it's almost like I'm trying to get to the outcome. And this is rushing. This is literally what rushing is. I'm trying to get to the outcome of him looking at me and walking well. And so I'm rewarding him quicker than, and when I do that, then he learns that, hey, I can look at Christian for like half a second, look away again. Look at Christian for like half a second or maybe 2 seconds, look away again at whatever point I want. And he'll always like reward me once I look at him, and I don't have to wait very long. And so that just builds, and that's the behavior that I've built with him over time, because again, I've been rushing, just trying to get him to walk beside me. And then today, for the first time, I went to the park, and I really intentionally, like, I did not let him off the leash until he stared at me for like 10 seconds. And that took about 15 minutes before that happened. It felt like maybe it was 5, maybe it was 10, but it was a while before he gave me that 10-second look, just me standing there beside him. But after that 10-second look, once he'd gone to the bathroom, the rest of the time, he was just following me around. And I would just stand there, wait for him to look at me for, again, like 10 seconds. And then I hit him with a reward. And then I started giving, and that was me shaping him. Like, I wasn't asking anything of him. And it was something I've heard recently in the dog world, but like creating that, like, that frustration, that excitement where they're wanting something from you and they have to wait. And they have to sit in that space, like building their capacity to be excited and to be anticipating for something, but still be inside of a command, like waiting. It just builds the excitement, and it builds their like attraction to you in some sense. Like they're more drawn to you. Like after that, the rest of the session, he was so much more drawn to me. And it really makes me think just about patience and about like how being patient with Bucky and being patient with myself in the moment to say, okay, no, I'm not going to just reward him for the smallest behavior. I'm going to make him do this right and do this properly. And I need to be present, because if I start going on my phone during the 5 minutes of me waiting for him to look at me, we're both distracted. Like I literally lose engagement. If I'm start to daydream about what I need to be doing for work or what I should be doing for work, I'm less present with Bucky, and the engagement decreases, the training session, everything, the quality goes down, and we both learn less, and we become like less connected. Whereas if I'm able to slow down, rush less, be more present, because I feel like rushing is like valuing the future a little bit over the present, valuing something that's in the future the behavior that I'm looking for over the present moment, where I'm actually going to wait until the behavior is perfectly exactly what I want and then reward that. Because that's me setting the standard of what I'm going to accept from Bucky. And there's no way he's going to put in more effort than what I set as the standard in terms of how I accept what I accept. And it's the same thing in terms of I think, the relationship that we have with ourselves. Being patient with ourselves until we're able to execute at the level that we're looking to execute at, instead of rushing to try and get something done at work, for example, even rushing mentally throughout the day of just like thinking about 3 other things other than what we're doing. So for example, again, just bringing it back, when I'm present with Bucky, the relationship is so much better, the engagement is so much better, and he excels. Like, he will learn to be a better dog way quicker. Like the fact that I literally took 10 seconds or 5 minutes at the start of the walk when we were at the park for him to stare at me for 10 seconds. The rest of the walk around the park, where he wasn't like tied to me with a leash, he had a long line on so I could step on if I need to, but it was some of the best engagement we've had. And again, it's the same thing in how we engage with work, with how we engage with anything. When we're more present and patient with the moment, we will grow faster. And our performance will improve and it will get better. Now, the challenging thing is, I feel like this is something that has been apparent to me for a while, but I've still valued the performance. I've still really, I've been more present and more patient. I've tried to be more mindful and been in meditation and stuff like that, because a part of me thinks that if I do that, my performance will improve. And I think that's genuinely true. Like, when you are more present and patient, your performance will improve. But by making performance the goal, it takes me out of the present moment, because now I'm just striving towards performance, and I'm looking for, like, is my performance improving? I'm analyzing everything, like, why is my performance not getting better? What am I doing wrong? What should I be doing more of? And again, it's actually less about, like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing more of? Like, analyzing it, even though that is a part of the process. But then again, coming back to the present moment and just being present and being like, okay, what feels right now? What should I do right now? What feels like the next best thing to do? And just continuing to do that, because when you're fully present, all of your facilities are engaged with the present moment. You're able to respond to it better. When you value the present more than the future, you invest yourself, your awareness, your attention in the present moment more than in the future, right? Because when you're investing yourself in the future, you're literally imagining shit that's not real, because the future's not real yet. So you're devaluing the present. And when I devalue the present with Bucky, the outcomes are worse. Whereas when I'm more present, I'm more invested in the present moment, the future actually turns out better. That's the episode for today. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.